This clip is brought to you by SaveWithConrad.com.
Let's talk about the match itself here. It got 3.5 stars in the Observer. Mysterio gets a huge ring entrance. He's even got the band POD playing his entrance music. He's got this big Mayan headdress. It's a coming out party for Mysterio. What do you think of the live bands playing the entrance themes? Was that something you thought was a cool touch or sort of unnecessary?
That's what WrestleMania is all about. And I don't blame Rey for doing that. It was his night. He was winning the world title. The only issue was it went so long. You know, we had like 21 minutes for our match, including entrances. And the entrance was pretty long as it was. So my entrance was 2 minutes. Randy's was 2 minutes. Ray's had to be 8 minutes. So, you know, you add that together, that's 12 minutes. We only had 9 minutes to wrestle one of the co-main events of WrestleMania. So we had to cut a lot of stuff. It was a really difficult match to do. And especially in a triple threat match, it's really hard to cut stuff out because you have to have all three people in unison with each other, knowing what's going on next.
How would you adjust for that? Did you know ahead of time the entrance has 8 minutes? Did you discover that in walkthroughs, or do you have a match built, but once you're in the ring, you realize, oh shit, we don't have time for all this now?
That's what happened when Rey came out and his entrance. He came out to the stage and then he went up a scaffold and went to the top of the Titantron. He's up there dancing around with his costume on. And comes back down. Comes down, celebrates, goes around the ring, gets in the ring, does his entrance. It seemed like forever. And the only thing I'm thinking is we're not going to have enough time. And we didn't. So we had to cut some stuff out, and we actually sped the match up. It was a higher paced match because of that.
Yeah, I can only imagine what's going through your mind there.
I don't blame Rey. Don't forget, this was Rey Mysterio's night. This was his first world title. And, you know, he was doing it for Eddie. So I don't blame Rey for that. I think that it was a great idea. I just wish we would have known beforehand.
Do you remember who the agent was for that match that night?
The agent was either Pat Patterson or Johnny Laurinaitis. They're both very exceptional. So I'm not sure which one it was.
It's a fast. Meltzer would write, while Mysterio was booed during his match, he was not booed at winning. He couldn't be booed afterwards since he broke down and cried while being congratulated by Chavo and Vicky. But the reaction was nowhere near what was expected. Part of the reason was it was such a pro-angle crowd, but also the match was too short and the people hadn't been drawn in at a deep level to explode at the outcome. Mysterio, Angle, and Orton were going in the direction of having a classic WrestleMania match when, with no build, Mysterio pinned Orton. The people simply weren't ready to pop big. There's a lot to unpack with what Meltzer says there. Perhaps you did Rey a disservice by putting Kurt Angle in the match since the fans were so for him. He can't just be the sort of standalone babyface. Maybe it should have been against two heels. And yeah, maybe the entrance or the placement on the card hurt it because these WrestleMania shows were loaded. You know, do you think in hindsight we should have shortened the entrance, or should you guys have, or could you have just gone long? And I know that I'm asking something silly here, but Shawn Michaels had a reputation, and so did Triple H, for they're going to go as long as they want to. And I realize that's because they're Shawn and Triple H, but had you gone long and the match was well received, would it have been disastrous when you walk back through the curtain? Is there really like a two sets of rules, one for Shawn and Triple H, one for everybody else, or was that not an option?
Well, I just never made it an option. I always tried to end my matches on time because that's what I was told. The only match that I ever went over on was my match with Shawn Michaels at WrestleMania 21. So I think that, you know, and to some degree, those guys are on a different level and they have a better understanding with Vince that they're going to go long. They might have the reputation of doing that, but I didn't want that reputation. I wanted to be a team player and make sure that I ended up on time.
Hey, it's Conrad Thompson. Thanks for checking out the podcast here on YouTube. Be sure to hit the subscribe button and the notifications bell so you get a notice anytime we upload some new content. And go save yourself some money right now. If you're in a 30-year loan or you have credit card debt, it's not a matter of if I can save you money. It's a matter of how much. Find out right now for free at SaveWithConrad.com.